Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 4, Book 51, Number 14. Narrated by Ibn Umar. I heard Allah's Apostle saying, all of you are guardians and responsible for your charges. The ruler, i.e. Imam, is a guardian and responsible for his subjects, and a man is a guardian of his family and is responsible for his charges, and a lady is a guardian in the house of her husband and is responsible for her charge, and a servant is a guardian of the property of his master and is responsible for his charge. I think he also said, and a man is a guardian of the property of his father. Volume 4, Book 51, Number 15. Narrated by Anas. The Prophet said to Abu Talha, I recommend that you divide this garden amongst your relatives. Abu Talha said, O Allah's Apostle, I will do the same. So Abu Talha divided it among his relatives and cousins. Ibn Ab said, when the Quranic verse, warn your nearest kinsman, 26.214, was revealed, the Prophet started calling the various big families of Quraysh, O Bani Fi, O Bani Adi. Abu Hurairah said, when the verse, warn your nearest kinsman, was revealed, the Prophet said, in a loud voice, O people of Quraysh. Volume 4, Book 51, Number 16. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. When Allah revealed the verse, warn your nearest kinsman, Allah's Apostle got up and said, O people of Quraysh, or said similar words. By, i.e. save, yourselves, from the hellfire, as I cannot save you from Allah's punishment, O Bani Abd Manaf. I cannot save you from Allah's punishment, O Safiya, the aunt of Allah's Apostle. I cannot save you from Allah's punishment, O Fatima bint Muhammad. Ask me anything from my wealth, but I cannot save you from Allah's punishment. Volume 4, Book 51, Number 17. Narrated by Anas. The Prophet saw a man driving a badana, i.e. camel for sacrifice, and said to him, ride on it. The man said, O Allah's Apostle, it is a bandana. The Prophet repeated his order, and on the third or fourth time he said, ride it, woe to you, or said, may Allah be merciful to you. Volume 4, Book 51, Number 18. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's Apostle saw a man driving a badana and said to him, ride on it, and on the second or the third time he added, woe to you. Volume 4, Book 51, Number 19. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. The mother of Sa'd bin Ubadah died in his absence. He said, O Allah's Apostle, my mother died in my absence. Will it be of any benefit for her if I give sadaqah on her behalf? The Prophet said, yes. Sa'd said, I make you a witness that I gave my garden called Al-Makraf in charity on her behalf. Volume 4, Book 51, Number 20. Narrated by Ka'b bin Malik. I said, O Allah's Apostle, for the acceptance of my repentance I wish to give all my property in charity for Allah's sake through his Apostle. He said, it is better for you to keep some of the property for yourself. I said, then I will keep my share in Khaybar. Volume 4, Book 51, Number 21. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. Some people claim that the order in the above verse is cancelled. By Allah, it is not cancelled, but the people have stopped acting on it. There are two kinds of guardians, who are in charge of the inheritance. One is that who inherits, such a person should give, of what he inherits to the relatives, the orphans and the needy, etc. The other is that who does not inherit, e.g. the guardian of the orphans, such a person should speak kindly and say, to those who are present at the time of distribution, I cannot give it to you, as the wealth belongs to the orphans. Volume 4, Book 51, Number 22. Narrated by Aisha. A man said to the Prophet, "My mother died suddenly, and I think that if she could speak, she would have given in charity. May I give in charity on her behalf?" He said, "Yes, give in charity on her behalf." Volume 4, Book 51, Number 23. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. Sa'd bin Ubadah consulted Allah's apostle saying, "My mother died and she had an unfulfilled vow." The Prophet said, "Fulfill it on her behalf." Volume 4, Book 51, Number 24. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. That the mother of Sa'd bin Ubadah, the brother of Bani Sadah, died in Sa'd's absence, so he came to the Prophet saying, "O Allah's apostle, my mother died in my absence, will it benefit her if I give in charity on her behalf?" The Prophet said, "Yes." Sa'd said, "I take you as my witness that I give my garden al-Makraf in charity on her behalf." Volume 4, Book 51, Number 25. Narrated by Az Zuhri. Urwa bin Az Zubair said that he asked Aisha about the meaning of the Quranic verse, "And if you fear that you will not deal fairly with the orphan girls, then marry other women of your choice." 4.2-3, Aisha said, "It is about a female orphan under the guardianship of her guardian who is inclined towards her because of her beauty and wealth, and likes to marry her with a mahr less than what is given to women of her standard. So they, i.e. guardians, were forbidden to marry the orphans unless they paid him a full appropriate mahr, otherwise, they were ordered to marry other women instead of them." Later on the people asked Allah's apostle about it. So Allah revealed the following verse, "They ask your instruction, O Muhammad, regarding women. Say, Allah instructs you regarding them." 4.127. And in this verse Allah indicated that if the orphan girl was beautiful and wealthy, her guardian would have the desire to marry her without giving her an appropriate mahr equal to what her peers could get. But if she was undesirable for lack of beauty or wealth, then he would not marry her, but seek to marry some other woman instead of her. So, since he did not marry her when he had no inclination towards her, he had not the right to marry her when he had an interest in her, unless he treated her justly by giving her a full mahr and securing all her rights. Volume 4, Book 51, Number 26. Narrated by Ibn Umar. In the lifetime of Allah's apostle, Umar gave in charity some of his property, a garden of date palms called Tham. Umar said, "O Allah's apostle, I have some property which I prize highly and I want to give it in charity." The Prophet said, "Give it in charity, i.e. as an endowment, with its land and trees on the condition that the land and trees will neither be sold nor given as a present, nor bequeathed, but the fruits are to be spent in charity." So, Umar gave it in charity, and it was for Allah's cause, the emancipation of slaves, for the poor, for guests, for travelers, and for kinsmen. The person acting as its administrator could eat from it reasonably and fairly, and could let a friend of his eat from it provided he had no intention of becoming wealthy by its means. Volume 4, Book 51, Number 27. Narrated by Aisha. The following verse, "If a guardian is well off, let him claim no remuneration, i.e. wages, but if he is poor, let him have for himself what is just and reasonable." 4.6, was revealed in connection with the guardian of an orphan, and it means that if he is poor he can have for himself, from the orphan's wealth, what is just and reasonable according to the orphan's share of the inheritance. Volume 4, Book 51, Number 28. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, "Avoid the 7 great destructive sins." The people inquire, "O Allah's apostle, what are they?" He said, "To join others in worship along with Allah, to practice sorcery, to kill the life which Allah has forbidden except for a just cause, according to Islamic law, to eat up riba, usury, to eat up an orphan's wealth, to give back to the enemy and fleeing from the battlefield at the time of fighting, and to accuse chaste women, who never even think of anything touching chastity and the good believers.